In this week's episode, Sandy's going to be teaching us about why she chose her second favorite day, her second conflict day, and her second Astro interesting day all this week. We have Venus Sextile Jupiter, Sun Square Saturn, and Mars ingress Scorpio. This is a big week, so tune in to hear more of this week's transits in this episode of Astrological Intentions. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Astrological Intentions. I am your host, Alex Reevy, along with the musical musician, Sandy Reevy.
Hi, that was fun last night.
It is episode 170 on October 25th. Let's get right into it. In the transits, we have Tuesday, October 26th, Venus square Neptune.
I want to believe it, but...
And Thursday, October 28th, Sandy's favorite day number 2, Venus sextile Jupiter.
A reception.
And Saturday, October 30th, Sun square Saturn and Sandy's second conflict day.
Share resources.
And Saturday, October 30th also includes Sandy's Astro interesting day, Mars ingress Scorpio.
Incredible strength.
And Sunday, October 31st, Happy Halloween and Mercury trine Jupiter.
Finish up this story.
Then the Talisman time Sandy has finished up. We have 5 to share with you to benefit from long-range goals, to purchase real estate property for investment, to boost monetary income, and a few more we want to talk about. Then on the horizon, we have our November astrology forecast coming up, and that has a special Halloween costume contest that you can win prizes. Also, an astrology webinar November 10th and our Constellation Bracelet workshop happening December 4th and on. So we also want to talk about in our house, we went to our first live concert since the stay in place, and what a night. Another reason why Sandy is the musical musician. So tune in to hear about what band we saw and the transformational effects of music.
Still tapping my foot.
Stay tuned for this episode of Astrological Intentions.
And so you finally know you control where you go.
Hello, musical musician.
I'll take it, man. That was fun. It was so... We'll talk more about it, but I was like, we had gotten these tickets months and months and months and months ago.
Right.
And it's a big favorite band of mine that's fairly new, but they're getting more and more followers daily. And I hope some of you follow both of these bands that we're going to talk about in our house.
Yep.
But I was worried that I'm like, I don't know if I can stay up that late. And I don't know if I can't sit. I need a chair. Or like all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, Sandy, will you ever go to concerts again?
Oh,
if
no.
I was like prepping the vision, I'm like, I got to stop the vision. Nope, this is going to be fun. Just like all your other concerts you've been to. Mm-hmm. Stood up the whole time, stayed out late.
Dance the whole time.
Ball. I did it.
It was great. It was so much fun. And you really were the muse behind it because you are such a big music fan. And just to, get those tickets and say, anyone who wants to come along. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing, which kind of reminds me of...
It's almost Halloween.
Which reminds me of
you said it again.
Of our going direct to all of you listeners. Thank you so much for sending in your feedback, your comments. We appreciate that soul food. Our bellies are full. So I want to share one from one of our weekly podcast listeners. She says, okay, I love you. She's talking to Sandy. And I love Alex. I love, love, love both of you together even more. Each and every Monday, I either listen to you on the way home from work or as I'm turning into bed, and I'm so grateful to have you as a friend and listen to what it is ahead. I am somewhat embarrassed to say I had to turn on Spotify to understand what you were talking about when you were referring to the song Peace Train. It is also in the same week that I had to re-listen to a song by the Rolling Stones because I heard that they had to pull Brown Sugar off their set list. Funny and not funny how we grow up singing songs that we never realized what they were truly about. Thank you for being the music muse that you are, and I want you to know that I believe you are living your best life, sharing it with everyone that is around you, and your energy is amazing. I am so grateful for you.
Oh, good. Hugs and kisses back. Brings tears to my eyes. Beautiful. Beautifully said.
Yes.
That could be one of my favorite.
That is
going direct.
It is so good, and it's true, because you are living your best life. You love every day waking up and doing what you do, and I think that translates so much into your work that people are then inspired. I'm inspired daily. I get a huge residual benefit of just being around all the time.
Yeah, and I think part of that, because I'm willing to do hard things. We have to do the hard things. And one thing that really helps me out is I tell you, I make my bed as soon as I get out of the bed in the morning, and I tell my pillow, I will tell the story of how the day went at the end of the day. Whether it's really I talk to the pillow or I have my dreams. And I just really think that's such a personal place, space, fluff, puff, pillow is so sacred, because there's so many stories there, whether they're tears that hold our absorb our tears, or our laughter, or our frustration if we're tossing and turning all night, right? That
and it's also really nice to have that break in the day where you're like, okay, rest is over, now let's start the day. That kind of, that initiation, that transfer of energy, of like that alchemizing that we can do during the day.
I'm like, I promise 100% I will be back tonight. And we'll just see how the day went.
Yeah, that's great.
All right.
Well, yes, shout out to our listener. Thank you so much for sending that in. Let's move on into the transits. So,
it's a big week.
It is a big week. So we're going to call this like your number 2 week, because you have your favorite day number 2, your conflict day number 2, and your Astro interesting day number 2.
Bam.
Wow. Okay. So let's start off with the first transit, which is Tuesday, October 26th, Venus square Neptune.
Yeah, this is, this Tuesday, which if you're listening on time, it's tomorrow. It's Venus who makes all the connections and the contacts and the relationships, and likes to relate and connect to beautiful things, and is square. So there's a little stressor going on with this square to Neptune. And Neptune is the planet of idealism and magic and wishing on a star and hoping, and the romance, the softening of things. So when they get into a square, it's like, I want to believe it. I want to wish for I want this to really be true, but, and so here, wait a few days.
And it's that little bit of doubt that sneaks in when you're like, this is too good to be true.
Hang on. Then you're going to look at it in the next couple days. You'll have more information by then. Therefore, you really can't believe all you hear from loved ones, even though you know them so well. They may be referring to incorrect information, right? It's like, I heard blah, 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 and they're giving you information. And then at somewhere along the post office line, it turns into, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. The gorilla monster
gossip.
was walking down the street. Swear, my brother saw it.
It's the grapevine.
Yeah, the grapevine. We played post office.
We played telephone. So I guess it was after Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone.
Oh, thanks. I'm that old.
Only kidding.
And so is everybody listening? Probably, Alex. Wow.
No, I got some my generation listening. So let's move into your favorite day number 2. That's Thursday, October 28th, Venus sextile Jupiter.
The two benefics.
It's great.
And they're sextiling. This is 60 degrees apart. So they're really, and I call this a reception, because they like to party, right? They like to do things together and enjoy. And they're at least a little bit closer now than they were with the square. that was just recent. And again, squares for them are just about overdoing or trying too hard. This sextile now that Venus has moved into place, because really Jupiter hasn't moved much. This Venus is now getting closer and closer to this kind of saying, hey, we can get together. This will be fun, optimistic, to enjoy. And so interesting that these two benefics grant all of us this wish. What is your wish? Now, Venus is in Sagittarius. Picture this, Alex. I know you're
right.
I see your
I'm
mind
thinking
going.
it.
Okay.
Yes.
Venus, the benefic, is in Sagittarius, which we know is ruled by Jupiter, and is making this aspect to Jupiter that happens to be in Aquarius. But these planets are both direct, so they have more to offer. So this is what's called the reception. When one planet is in the other planet's sign and they're making an aspect.
Okay. Makes kind of sense. It's like that sense of walking into someone else's space, and there's a little bit of a celebration there to welcome you there, which is exactly what you were talking about, a reception. We have the reception desk at hotels where they're welcoming. We have those reception parties, or even just the reception of receiving something like a gift or a package.
Well, it reminds me of our retreats. We get there early always. And one of the things we're doing, other than, grounding and setting up space, is we're going shopping. And we shop local for a gift or gifts.
Right.
And a welcome letter and an itinerary and a beautiful folder and some things that are laying on their bed when they enter their room.
Yes.
And that's that kind of like, welcome. We've been expecting you. And we're so happy to have you here.
Right.
Right. So it's like, sounds like party time. So have your party on Thursday.
Okay.
Enjoy.
We'll start the weekend early. Let's move.
Because Saturday, ba-bam.
Okay. So we need to start the weekend early. So Saturday, October 30th, this is your number 2 conflict day. Sun square Saturn.
Yeah, Sun square Saturn. This is shared resources. Now, Sun, the planet of vitality, is square, conflict, Saturn. Saturn, the planet of limitations and restrictions and seriousness.
The planet of no. It's the planet of no.
The planet of, I'll think about it. File a report, right? It's that consolidation or that constriction that Saturn wants to do. And so we open up the day on Saturday morning when we hop out of bed is like, do we hop or do we have to roll out of bed? Because it's this slowing down. We're making sure that we have all the proper tools now. Things are going slower. We may need to share resources so that these two planets will be honored. Get hard projects done today. And I just really, this is the end of October. It's the weekend, the last weekend of October. And, to me, this could be, are you for the Northern Hemisphere people, for sure, for the Northern people, to pack up their summer furniture and their umbrellas and rolling up carpets outdoors and bringing plants in or sending them on their way for composting. It's kind of that day to get some hard work done, but maybe do it as a team effort,
right?
Even though Saturn doesn't have to have really a lot of people around, but the sun does, right? So it's like, let's get this job done.
Yeah, so it's maybe not necessarily just share resources, but share responsibilities.
That is so perfect.
Yeah.
That is so perfect. Yeah.
So let's also, the same day, you have another big mention of an Astro interesting day, and that's still October 30th, that Saturday, Venus ingress Scorpio.
And this is by 9:30 in the morning. So if this is, how about everybody sets their alarm, if anybody sets their alarm on Saturday mornings? I know this morning I did not. but to do that on weekends. But most of the time I do, because I need to get things done. But maybe you could set your alarm for 9:21 a.m. on Saturday morning to maybe find the energy then, because, but after 5 a.m. on Saturday, I'm going back to that previous one I just talked about, that Sun Square Saturn, where it's like, you're
sharing the responsibilities,
you're
resources.
You're a little slowed down, you're not feeling real vital. Then Mars moves into at 9:21. So there's this boom, pop out of bed then, that maybe you've just gotten a little bit, you need to like power through and push. And that's why I like picking up furniture and moving it and stacking it.
Or get the whole family together to help, cook the whole entire Saturday morning breakfast.
This is incredible strength. Now I did some interesting work here. I have an interesting comment here. It's the only planet, okay, get me, the only planet that can be in, number 1, domicile, where he's the ruler of, he has authority and it is in control. Domicile. Number 2, the triplicity lord. And this is to be in harmony with his tribe, where he's not in charge, but he's one with.
Okay.
Number 3, the bound lord. Okay. The bound lord is the manager. He knows how to get things done.
So it sounds like Mercury has the ability
This is
to
Mars.
Mars has the ability to do many different things.
Number 4, you're interrupting me now. 4.
Okay. Got it.
4, he is in his face. He's in his decan, or we call decan or face, and where he can wear the proper attire. He's dressed for the occasion, and wearing, the tool belt or the jogging shoes or the, business suit, because, this Mars is like, needs to take action. The entrepreneur, I describe the athlete.
Or the armor.
Or the armor.
When Mars normally like to wear that armor.
The fighter, we know several fighters in our group that will use this energy. So so from today, Saturday the 30th, through November 9th, while he's in this bound lord, because then it changes to Venus. I know I'm saying things that people don't understand, but from the 30th to the 9th, major Mars energy.
Okay.
And like I said, it's the only planet that is in all 4 places anytime throughout the zodiac.
Okay. So he's not doing that here in Scorpio, but that's just.
Yeah, yes.
Oh, wow.
The first 10 degrees of Scorpio, he's got all of
those. Okay. Yeah. So he's just working hard.
Well, he's able to.
Wow.
Right? He's able to push, get things done. So this would be the time, if you have any literally like constructive energy or being productive of it. This is like a speeding through. So really watch your speed.
Perfect.
I mean, watch your speed, not to run in your stilettos with knives, because I think I've.
If you're a knife juggler, yeah. Yes.
Just to watch the road as well, because everybody's going to be feeling this energy
about getting stuff done. Yeah. And I mean, we're getting close to the holidays, and if anyone out there is either an entrepreneur or has a big family, it's like now is the time to start getting those things together, especially this year, to start early. So let's move on to the last transit of the week, Sunday, October 31st, Mercury trine Jupiter.
This is the third pass of 3. So this is the last pass. This comes in Sunday night at about 11:18 p.m. And I suggest to finish this story. What storyline has been going for you since September 20th? It's now good to move on with this message. We had the first pass. This is when Mercury was making his retrograde cycle. This is the final, and this is nice, right? This is Mercury, the planet of communication and short travel. delivering and receiving messages is Trine. Very easy. Boom, slides into the lap with Jupiter. And Jupiter's direct now. That's the difference between these last few. The first two, Jupiter was not direct. Now he is. So there feels like a really big movement and push to finish something so that you can start something, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What would that be, right? So, that we're working on a few things, so I think we would know what those are.
Yes. So let's move into talisman times. You've been busy this past week, and you created 5 talismans. So Monday, October 18th, to benefit from long-range goals.
I make this commitment now to increase my financial earnings in the future. Abundance is agreed, and I am patient. This one sold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This one had a gibbous moon in Aries. So this was the moon making the sextile to Saturn, who was direct in the ruler of the chart. Again,
we're excited.
Yeah, and being in Jupiter being the ruler of the second, which is the finances, and Saturn saying, "Hey, it's gonna take some time, but know that you're working toward something." So anyway, this one is sold.
Yes. So the next one was Saturday, October 23rd, to purchase real estate property for investment.
This financial decision to buy land holds, develops, and continues to increase value for the length of time I own this parcel. So this one was done with the moon in the 4th house, which is the 4th house is a home or building or a non-movable item.
Mm-hmm.
Don't question me that you can move homes. Don't do that on me right now. It's rare.
Right. And
this is
I'm
property.
sure terribly
this is real estate.
big deal. Yes.
Although there is a story about my dad moving a gazebo for my mother.
Yes. Which we did discuss that with Mimi on the podcast.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That's probably one of our first, within the first 6 months of our podcast.
Yeah, when she was
if someone
visiting.
finds it.
Yeah. So this moon is making this aspect to Saturn. This is just, which again is about buying something or earth-centered, like something that is stable.
Grounded, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the next one, you have 3 coming up, or 3 finished on Sunday, October 24th. The first, to boost monetary income.
As I rise to prominence, the public notices my products and services. This automatically increases my earnings. We each progress. Because, the one way to increase money is to provide something that is in need, right? Isn't that what we do? We create a service or a business or a product that the consumer needs. Wants aren't so... those
fleeting.
are on wish lists.
Wants are fleeting, yes.
And those are on, birthday wish lists or Christmas wish lists. But the things that we need, those are the companies or the people or the entrepreneurs that hold the best, public notice. Now, I did this because the sun was sun had just moved into Scorpio, and that's sitting at the top of the chart on the midheaven. Again, we got Saturn ruling the whole chart, and the moon making an aspect to Jupiter, the ruler of the second, which is about money. So it's about notoriety. It's about prominence.
Right. Which the next one kind of reminds me a little bit of that, to share my skills and expertise with the world.
All that I know, learned, and practice is now available for others to receive. My successful work is ready to distribute. We all advance.
Yes.
And so this is the 3rd decan of Aquarius, which is success in a specialty skill and expertise and healing. This is the disseminating moon phase again. It's disseminating all day that day. So it means to give and share with humanity.
Yeah. And I think that's beautiful because, and I'm going to note over to our recent concert that we were at. One of the moments that in between the songs, he said, we all have a reason, we all have a purpose of being here in the world. And what we need to do is find that and share it with the rest of the world. So, find those skills that you can't get enough of. Find that expertise that you could dive into and swim around for hours on end without food or, not even thinking about anything else. So, this one is very cool, very special. And the final talisman time is also Sunday, October 24th, to give and receive glory and gains.
I humbly request during my prayers the acquisition of all good things. I find a connection in the response. This is, again, the disseminating moon phase. The moon is in the 7th lunar mansion, which is about, it is literally written in the Picatrix, written in from the 9th century or 900s, the 10th century, that this lunar mansion from 17 degrees of Gemini all the way to 0 of Cancer. So if you can get the moon, or anybody has that moon in their natal chart, between 17 Gemini, 0 Cancer, is that it's for literally the acquisition of good things.
Yeah.
Quote unquote. That's what it's for. So
well, and I think what I like about this one the most is that it is this communication with our spirituality, with that expansive sense of self and creation, that when we can be in communication with that and say what we desire, talk about the things that we want, and then in turn get that type of response. It's not going to be those exact ways that we communicate, but it will be those opportunities that just randomly pop up and
I knew it. There
right,
it is.
There
Boom.
it is. And it's that affirmation of, the universe, God, spirit talking back. And I love that.
and to hear it, and sometimes we do have to reflect on it. I, again, have something about last night. But anyway, I'll hold that so I'm not getting eyeballs over here.
So don't forget, everyone, we still have our Talisman of the Month available to know the difference between spiritual and worldly riches. This is only available for this next week, and then it will go back up to its regular price. So check it out on the website. That link is in the description. Also, let's quick talk about, too, that we have our Jupiter and Pisces Talisman workshop that's still on the website. You get a talisman sent to your door along with the reports, and you get the recorded webinar. So it's a really special spot to be in, where it's that Jupiter, that expansiveness, that Pisces, that spirituality that we were just talking about, of, expanding our thoughts and our optimism and our buoyancy. And so check it out.
All these dates are coming up. They're dates that happened this year, May, June, July, and then boom, back in just at the end of this coming December, all the way through, really, all the way up until May, and then they go away for a while, and then Jupiter comes back into Pisces in September, October.
So we got a big year ahead, and this is great for big steps, big gains, big moves.
So there is something, though, that is like tapping or tapping me on the shoulder to do something when we get to maybe February, to do something around this as well.
Okay.
So hold me to that.
We'll talk about it, and we'll figure it out. Then we'll bring it back on the website or on the podcast. So let's move on the horizon.
First of all, there are no new talismans.
Oh, right. Up. I definitely skipped over that part. So there are no upcoming talismans this week.
Conflict Day. No.
Yep. So let's move on the horizon. We have October 30th. Set your calendars, set those dates up, because you want to be joining us on this November astrology forecast that is hosted on Facebook Live. It's absolutely free. Sandy and Susan come and start really explaining and going deep into the astrological transits for the month. Also, it's a really great way to cheat a little bit and download our cheat sheet where Sandy and Susan have already laid out all of the dates, the times, and a little snippet of, to ping your memory of what this transit is about. Also, this October 30th, we will be having a Halloween costume contest. So if you have a picture of your Halloween costume, post it on that Facebook event wall, and you will be in the running to win some prizes from Sandy and Susan.
The judges?
And the judges are Sandy and Susan. So Sandy gets to pick her favorite of the bunch, and Susan gets to pick hers. There's gifts. We're going to have gifts from the $10 cheat sheet downloads to possibly a webinar that's popping up, and I'm going to be talking about that soon. So yeah, definitely join in. We would love to see your pictures. So
please do.
Enter. So let's move on. November 10th is actually that astrology webinar I was just talking about, Saturn square Uranus. I don't have those links up on the description yet, but they will be coming soon, or at least next week. So tell me a little bit about the energy of Saturn square Uranus.
This is the one big transit, the toughest, most challenging, difficult, stressful, square.
Got it.
of the year of 2021. And this is the last pass on December 24th, Christmas Eve.
Okay.
That they come together and then they start separating. Meanwhile, all year from, I think it was early February, so that's most of the year as it was forming, going in and out of the exact aspect, but staying in range this whole year. So which this is, we've got Saturn, a pretty hard, the no planet, right?
Right.
The wall, the cement, right? The
police officer
that is up against Uranus, the game changer, the guy that uses all of this electric frequency force to actually move something,
right?
The humanity,
using invention,
the world, and
geniusness. Some things that just you don't expect.
It's like, I thought everything in the world was discovered. Oh, and then they discover something else.
Well, that's definitely what Saturn believes. Everything's already been done. This is exactly how it goes. And then Uranus comes in and is like, that's not how you have to do it.
That's not growth.
You don't have to hail taxis or call on the phone. You can actually do it from your smartphone and have it be an Uber driver. So it's just, Uranus is that that kind of
progressor.
The progressor, the one thinking outside of the box that Saturn loves to be sitting in.
And so now they're square. So this is tension, So for sure, be careful around any family events that you're having over this Christmas. I mean, it's smack dab right there, 24th.
Well, yeah, and Saturn's also traditions. So, what are these new progressive parts of those set traditions that you have that might be causing tension?
Yeah, or just talking about things in the world that, the conflicts in the world, and listening to, Sarah's discussion versus Tommy's, brother, sister.
Right.
And they have two opposing forces, right?
Yep.
And so we're going to have to, during the webinar, we'll for sure have some ideas on ways to work with this tough energy.
That will be so interesting because I think everyone that's listening has been in one of those conversations where you're kind of like, oh, this is a little bit awkward because I can't believe how passionate and stone cold people are in their, views right now, and they are polarizing, and they're not finding any type of common ground of just being humans and living in this crazy world. So that will be interesting, and the links are coming soon.
Would be
What?
I'm just thinking, like, when we were sitting at a table eating dinner, and my dad was a really goofball. He was hilarious, funny guy, and he would always like want to give us, knuckleheads and and doing things like that. So finding a way to break up a tense conversation by bringing a story in from your childhood that's based on you had a good childhood, with your siblings. If you could just say, "Oh, that reminds me of the day that, blah blah blah, you did this," and we all laughed.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
so bringing that sense of surprise. Cool. So
defray,
let's also talk about quickly our Constellation Bracelet workshop for the winter solstice. That's going to be happening December 4th into late January. The dates will be skipping over the important, Christmas times. I think even Hanukkah as well. And also New Year's up until January 8th, where you're going to be having your retreat. So we're keeping those dates pretty open.
Meaning we're not having any classes. There will be no meetings, Christmas week, New Year's week, or the week after. So just keep that in mind if you're thinking about when are these dates, when are the scheduled classes. They're not going to interfere with Christmas,
those normal
New Year,
traditions,
or the week after, because I'll be busy too.
Right. So if you have any questions, make sure to email me, alex@intentionbeads.com. I'll be happy to share with you any information I can. So also our final announcement is that on the website coming up this week, we will be having our generational malas completely refreshed and restocked on the website. These generational malas are one of our originals, are one of our original products. And the reason why we call it the generational malas is that it touches 3 hands of our generation, which is so cool. It's not necessarily like we planned it that way and intended it. It was just, Mimi, my grandma, but your mom, wanted to help out. And so one way that she could was to string these malas. And she would take the beads that you handmade. We would send them to her in Ohio. She would string them, and then
along with the wood beads.
With the wood beads, all 108 of the mala. And then they would be sent back, and I would finish them with the tassel. So it is pretty cool when you think about how this cycle goes and how healing it can be when generations work together. And so it's just, these are so special to us, and we know that you'll love them. They're gorgeous colors, the tassel colors, the bead colors, and they all have their own special intention. And a little backstory too about the beads is that when you are finished with your intention bracelets and they find their owners, there's sometimes a couple beads left over from the possibility of resizing.
Correct.
And those couple of beads left over, we use as the guru beads and the pause beads for these malas. So they have that same purpose and intent behind them. What you do is you combine them and combine that intention together. So they're really cool. We absolutely love them, and we're so excited to share them with you. That link is in the description if you want to peek on the ones that are coming up. We're going to be constantly refreshing this stock.
There's probably 40 of them over here I have to photograph and get up on the website. But we've been working on these and just haven't, discussed them, sold them, put them up online. And we haven't had anything on the website probably for 2 or more years.
Like this?
With these.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're new to our company, you have not seen these before.
Yes. Also, we do have our deadline for Halloween happening today. So if we've talked about our original company, She Beads, and the Halloween beads that we have are,
Almost
getting close to being gone. So make sure to click that link if you want to order any of your Halloween bracelets, earrings. They're up on there, and we will get those to you as soon as possible and before Halloween. So let's move into our house. So we just went to our first live concert since like the stay in place and barring up the doors and never stepping out. And it really was a transformative experience.
And I can't remember the last live concert I went to because I go to, I think, a lot. And I'm thinking it was theirs.
I bet.
Set Sayings. I really think it was because that was in like, I want to say November or something of 2019. Anyway, so we went to a concert. We bought tickets months and months ago because when they come into town, it's a small group, small band with lots of sound, lots of messages, and unification of, spirit. They sing a little country. They sing, they hit a slide. What do you call those?
Like
guitar?
A table guitar.
Guitar.
It's the whiny instrument from country music. It's like the wow, wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, this band is called Satsang, Satsang, and it's this main singer and his best friend Drew, or the main singer's name is Drew, and they started this band just kind of on a whim, I guess. They didn't necessarily set out to be musicians,
like,
but
hey, you play this, I play this, let's jam,
right?
That kind of and they've grown their band. There's five of them now,
Right.
And they came into Chicago last night, and we got to go. Of course, we got to talk to them afterwards, and some of the band before. And, I love their new music, love their music. And we're on our way to the concert. I'm like, I know that there's a 8 o'clock, and what do you call those? A preliminary,
an opening band?
An opening, that's what you call an opening band. And I was like, Tim Snyder, oh my God.
You kept saying,
I know him.
I know that name. I know that name. And when we show up, you're like, oh my gosh, it is him. And he's this amazing violinist who used to tour with Nako Bear, and that's how you knew him. And you walked up to him and you're like, wow, I can't believe you're here. This is so amazing.
You were such a surprise for me, because he and I have spoken a couple times, once in Arizona, although we talked about the Bali Spirit Festival last night.
And did he perform in that one?
Yeah, they were there twice. And we were at the last one that they performed at when we were there,
right,
seeing them on stage then. So anyway, it was just kind of like his dad isn't a construction worker or built a construction company. His brother is now taking it over. I'm like, oh my God, my dad's a brick mason, and when he left, my brother took it over. So it was just, he's just like, oh, we have so many
isn't
stories.
It that's so special when you can have those conversations with the musicians so that while they're on stage performing live, there is that sense of connection. There is that sense of, wow, you can just see them for really, truly the talent that they're bringing to that show.
And it also gives you a really eye-to-eye sense of human being,
right,
with a talent or a skill or knowledge or whatever it is anyone has, is like, this is the passion of this. And we're just chatting about, hey, his dad passed away, and Tim said, oh, you probably don't know, I have a daughter now, and this silver lining of the COVID and some other things. But and I said, oh, I've only seen you play this
The violin.
badass violin.
Right.
And do you sing? He's like, oh, just wait. We got 4 minutes. We'll be up on stage in 4 minutes. And they were, and I was right center. And he sang incredible voice.
Yes. So this,
He wrote his own songs.
Right.
We met the band. Anyway, Tim Snyder, spelled
Snider.
Check him out. A new
Great-
and upcoming.
Great musician.
Yeah.
Wonderful musician. And just like Satsang, he has this incredible message to send, to say. And it really is. It's so inspiring to see people who are living their purpose on purpose, and kind of knowing what they're doing, and by just living their best life, just like our Going Direct said, like living your best life and sharing it with everyone else. And I think that is such a key. That's such a key to the world. And I remember when we were in the audience, we brought a few of our friends, and just being there and feeling the vibration of the music, being able to make eye contact with some of the musicians, feeling the camaraderie, the connection with not only those, band members, but the people around that are listening to the music and dancing, or just like kind of sitting there with their arms crossed, just bobbing their heads.
Yeah.
It's such a wonderful atmosphere that I totally forgot about, because we haven't been out to live music in a while.
I want to raise you on that. Here's my chip.
Yes, you're all in.
It's even more than that. Do we even consider it important connection? Like a blessing, like we are sharing. The chip I just put in it's bigger than that now. It's us smiling and clapping and moving our heads and our hips and our legs, and just, or singing along if we knew the song. Lets the band members, the singers, the writers, the guys that are
putting their
practicing
hearts into this.
They don't have roadies. They can hardly talk to you afterwards, because they're setting up, they're rolling stuff into U-Haul to go to the next town.
Yeah.
And talk about, trial, tribulation,
dedication.
Talk about dedication. And they get that 2 hours maybe of nod, of smile, of making people dance and laugh and hip, and they can see their faces, because, we walk in and they said, you're required to wear a mask, but that's the last time we'll tell you that. Well, when you get in, nobody has their mask on, right? And so they got to see the smiles. We got to see their faces. I just think that there's more of a yeah, I'm with you here, brother, or I'm here with you, tribe. I'm here with you, common public folk, right? We are all here enjoying, and thank you for bringing me this message. And he has us, and several times, go into a tiny little meditation to think of the word that you want to release and let go, and then they build it up with the drums and the bass, and they're like ding 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 ding, and then the violin gets in there really. And I even think we just and you're raising, and he's like, okay, on 3, yell your word. It was like 1, 2, 3, ah! And everybody just go of what
it was
a fear was.
Wonderful. It was so wonderful. And those exercises are, some of us, anyone can feel like, oh, this is silly. Why would we do this? This is inappropriate, or whatever it is. But those exercises do make a big difference. Expressing yourself in whatever way possible, or really seeing the things that you want to get rid of, that you want to let go of, and do something about that. It doesn't necessarily have to be banish it from your life immediately, but at least just make an act, call it out, and say I don't need that right now.
I think too, as we go back into, concert going and more of the festival or outdoor, indoor, where we're actually indoor concerts these days, but to choose who you're supporting.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you supporting? These, for the 3 men that I did talk to, 3 satsang, I talked to Drew, I talked to Tim, I talked to Parker.
Mm-hmm.
I actually talked to, Zach, but I didn't get into his personal life. But the 3 that I did that were easily to share said, I had a daughter, and my wife and I are, so we're going to take breaks during this tour so that we can go back to our family life for a week. These things are really important.
Yeah.
And I just literally, as my 65-year-old self, looked at them and just said, I'm proud of you. Thank you for showing up as a 30-ish year old and bringing back those important qualities back into the lives of us who come to listen to you. And they sing about them. They write about them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and you can feel the heartfeltness. It's not just this wannabe song or wannabe good husband. It's, you hear it in their voice.
Yes.
So anyway, yay! So satsang, Tim Snyder is opening for him. They're making all little dots around the Midwest right now, just for another week, and then they take a break, and then they head back and do just all down the West Coast.
Yeah. I mean, it's just
it's $17. $17 for a ticket, folks.
It was so worth it. It's just it was packed in there. And what I really also loved is that they love Chicago, because they lived in Chicago for a while, and every time they come back, and in some of the songs that they sing, they shout out Chicago. And so when that happens, like, the whole audience really got into it, and it just makes you just proud of where you are from.
Part of something.
Yeah.
They do sing one line. Satsang sings in one of his lines, from Halstead to Boston. So he's referring to, again, Halstead Street in Chicago. All right. And check them out. They're on Spotify.
Yes.
We're reaching out to them. We had some conversations with them before and after. Let's see what comes about from that.
Yes. So excited. So, of course, check out Satsang.
Are you going to put links here?
I can. Yeah, let's do that. I'll put links in the description. Yeah. And Tim Snyder, they're all wonderful bands, wonderful people with an incredibly wonderful message. So, and it all happens with good music, so it's like, it's so good. It's like a win-win-win-win-win-win. And we would love for you to check them out and become super fans like us. So I think that's all for our podcast today. Again, keep sending in those feedbacks. Head over to Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star review, and write a little bit of why you like the podcast. It would be a huge help. Thank you so much, everybody, for sending in your emails and your feedback to alex@intentionbeads.com. Keep it coming, and we will see you all next week. Have a wonderful week, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
And so you finally know you control where you go.